Hey, what is up, everybody? This is your boy AJTRIP, and welcome to the game according to me. As usual, we'll get into the college football playoff rankings, talk about what went down in last weekend's games in both the college and pro league, and talk about what's going to happen in the in this weekend's college and pro games. But we're going to make a quick stop first to the NBA and check out the NBA standings within the first few weeks of the season having started. So let's go ahead and jump right into the NBA, shall we? All right, let's start in the Eastern Conference with the Cavaliers on top of the conference at 12 and 0, a surprising 12 and 0 the Cleveland Cavaliers. Unbelievably, they're starting off this hot. This hasn't happened in a long time where a team has started off with this many wins to begin the season. It's a truly truly good performance that's happening in Cleveland, and it's surprising to see. To be honest with you, we thought they would be a good team. We know they were going to be this good. Let's see if this can last the entire season. Number two is the Boston Celtics at 9-3. The Orlando Magic at 3 is at 6, and the 6 is the team that I predicted to make a big jump in the Eastern Conference. They've been out Paulo Banchero for a while. So we'll see if when he comes back, if they can, you know, get back and be as surprising as the Cavaliers. The Pacers are in the 4th seed at 5-5, along with the Knicks being 5-5 in the 5th seed. The Nets are in the 6th seed, being 5-6. The Pistons are in the 7th seed at 5-7. The Hawks are 5-7 in the 8th seed. The Heat are 4-6 in the 9th seed. And the Bulls are 4-7 in the 10th seed. You know, over the Hornets, who are also 4-7 in the 11th seed. The Bucks. This is the other surprise. The other way, the Bucks are 3-8. The Wizards are 2-7. The Sixers are 2-7, 2-8, and the Raptors are 2-10. And don't forget about the crazy way they do these things. If the playoffs will start now, the Pistons and the Hawks, the Heat and the Bulls, they would play in. They would do playing games to see who would get the 7th and 8th seed. So don't forget that craziness. To the Western Conference, on top after last night's victory over the Dallas Mavericks, the Warriors are 9-2. The Suns are also 9-2. The Thunder are also 9-2. Warriors 1, Suns 2, Thunder 3. The Nuggets are 7-3. The Houston Rockets are 7-4. The Memphis Grizzlies are 7-4 as well. The Lakers are 6-4. The Timberwolves are 6-5. The Clippers are 6-5. The Kings are 6-5. The Mavericks, the defending Western Conference champions, are 5-6. Will be out of the play-in tournament if it started now. The Spurs are 5-6. The Trailblazers 4-8. The Pelicans 3-8, and the Jazz are 2-8. The Jazz started off really hot last year, but they have trickled all the way down, you know, since that early start to be one of the worst teams in the league. That is very unfortunate. Quickly looking at the statistics, the Lakers, Anthony Davis is on top of the points per game at 31.2. Giannis is second to LaMelo Ball at 3. LaMelo Ball scored 35 points last night, and that was his 7th game of scoring 35 or more points. As we just talked about, the Hornets are 4-7. 4-7. They played 11 games, and 7 out of those 11 games, he scored over 35. He's doing good. Nikola Jokic is up there at 27.9, along with Jason Tatum at 20.7 and 9, the top 5 in points per game scoring. Rebound of the game, Nuggets, Nikola Jokic is up there as he normally is with 13.7. Domantas Sabonis at 12.8. Ivica Zubac is 12.8 to the Clippers. Karl Anthony Towns 12.4, and Giannis Antetokounmpo 11.9 assists per game. Again, Nikola Jokic averaging a triple-double as he always does. He's got 11.7 assists per game. Trae Young of the Hawks with 11.5. John Morant 9.1. James Harden 9.0. And LeBron James at 8.9 himself. One more thing, I would think that as I scroll down, that's a very interesting stat. Listen to these names. who are the top 5 in 3-point percentage. Larry Nance Jr. at 73.7% from the 3-point land. And Nikola Jokic at 56.4%. Taurean Prince at 56.4%. Aaron Gordon at 54.5%. And Amir Coffey at 54.5%. Not the people you would think would be the leaders of 3-point percentage. You know, maybe Kyrie Irving, maybe probably Stephen Curry or Klay Thompson. They were shooting threes all last night. But we got some big men, power forwards up here, and centers up at 3-point percentage. So that's a very interesting one as well. Yeah, so I that's it for the standings. I think what we can see here is we need to see. We'll check back in maybe in a couple of weeks to see what's going on with not only the stats but the standings in the league. But right now, it is very interesting to see. The biggest story is the Cleveland Cavaliers being undefeated. Let's see if they can not only, because they're not going to go all undefeated. No team possibly ever will go 82-0. And if it does happen, me and all the people listening to this will be long gone when it happens. But it will be interesting to see if Cleveland can keep it up, throughout the season and still have that number 1 spot if they stay relatively healthy. That's always a big issue. Health is a big thing, and we've got some injuries now with teams. Zion Williamson's hurt again. We talked about Paulo Ventura was hurt for a while. Kevin Durant has been out. So of course, Embiid and George and Sixers. That's why they're like 2-8. So some big names out right now. So that's why some of the standings are a little off. But still, 12-0 Cavaliers. Very interesting. So, but that's it for our NBA checkup. Now we get to what we normally do here each week on the podcast. We talk about football, and as always, we start with college football. So, as always, on Tuesdays during the college football season, once they get past like week 8 or week 9, we get the college football rankings. And so quickly, here are the top 25. Tulane at 25, Army at 24, maybe a little bit low for the undefeated team. Missouri at 23, LSU at 22, South Carolina at 21, Clemson at 20, Louisville at 19, Washington State at 18, Colorado at 17, Kansas State at 16, Texas A&M at 15, SMU at 14, Boise State at 13. Remember, Boise State at 13. I want you to remember this when we get into how you break down in the brackets. Georgia is 12. Ole Miss is 11. Alabama is 10. Miami is 9. Notre Dame is 8. Tennessee is 7. BYU is 6. 5 is Indiana. 4 is Penn State. 3 is Texas. 2 is Ohio State. 1 is Oregon. So that's how the rankings are for this week's Week 12 rankings. Now, let's look at how it would line up. I want you to remember that I said Boise State was 13. However, they would be the 12 seed because they would be the 5th division conference champion. So the top 5 conference champions always get a bye. They don't always get it up, but they get an automatic bid. So Boise would be the 12th seed, even though Georgia in the rankings was 12th. So we would have that. We have Ole Miss at 11, Alabama at 10, Notre Dame at 9. Boise, Alabama, Miss, and Notre Dame, they would be the away teams for the first round. The home, because the first round will be games played at their certain stadiums, at the home stadium. So number 9 Notre Dame would go to number 8 Tennessee. We have number 10 Alabama would go to Indiana who would who would get the 7th seed. Wouldn't that be interesting? Alabama going to Indiana. Ole Miss would go to Penn State, as Penn State would be the 6th seeded team. And Boise State would go to Ohio State, being the 5th ranked, being the 5th seeded team, even though they are ranked number 2. That's because Oregon would be the Big Ten winner, who is ranked number 1. Miami would be, even though they're ranked 9th, they would be they would get the automatic bid and a week off because they are the ACC leader. BYU is the 3rd seeded team, even though being ranked 6th, because they are the Big 12 leaders, and Texas, even though ranked 3rd, would be the 2nd, would be the 2nd seed, being the leader of the SEC. So that's how we go. Which means that Georgia, who's ranked 12th, would be out of the college football playoff if this were to go down. If everything stayed like this, and everything's not going to stay like this, because there's some other games that happen and something like this. I would almost guarantee that these 12 teams that would make the college football playoff are not going to be those teams. Something else is going to happen where, something else could happen and it would change the whole way in the thing. Now, this morning on Get Up, they were ridiculously saying, talking about Penn State and Indiana not being worthy of being in the college football playoff. Well, guess what? Even though we have 12 teams, the college football playoff is still about who you lose to and when you lose to. We talked about Notre Dame at the beginning of the season, and I was on here frustrated because they lost to Northern Illinois, and I thought that would screw up their chances of getting into the college football playoff. However, one thing that I forgot, or I didn't think of, is that it's still about when you lose. And since that was the 2nd game of the season, which they lost, they still had a chance to beat this team. Georgia just recently lost, and that's just how it is. They just recently lost, so they're not going to be in it as of right now. They still have a chance to make it, even though they beat the number 3 overall team, the 2nd seeded Texas Longhorns. Georgia beat them. They still have a chance. They still have a chance. So I think everybody who's upset that Penn State and Indiana are up there, maybe even BYU, we still have a long ways to go before any of this is settled. So, but Indiana and Penn State are very, very worthy of being in the college football playoff and should. We talk about Army being undefeated. Army's gonna. I thought Army would really have a better shot than it already is. I think if they beat Notre Dame this week, that would take Notre Dame out of contention for any college football playoff, and that might bring Army back up. But then at some point they would face the conference champion and maybe Navy. They have a. It's a weird thing with Army, because they will have an opportunity to play not only the conference championship game against Navy, but then play Navy for the Commander-in-Chief trophy. That could be very interesting. Another interesting one is Colorado. If Colorado wins out and BYU wins out, and Colorado beats BYU, Colorado gets a bid into the college football playoff. But where would that then go happen for BYU? Where would they fall? Would they fall so far out of the thing that they wouldn't get a chance to get into it. This is going to be fun. This is why we wanted 12 teams. Can't wait to get to 14. Can't wait until then they go to 16 at some point as well, and then they can incorporate all of the other conferences as well. It's going to be exciting. This is it's going to be exciting when that happens. And right now, it's very exciting on this college football playoff. So those were the rankings. Let's talk about what went down last week. The number 3 team, Texas, beat Florida 49-17. The upset, the reason why Miami fell, you know, so far in the college football rankings, because they lost to Georgia Tech 28-23. Ohio State shut out Purdue 45-0. Army beat North Texas 14-3. Clemson beat Virginia Tech 24-14. Ole Miss beat Georgia. That's what I was talking about. They lost to Ole Miss. And this most recent loss is the reason why it affected Georgia not being in the college football playoffs. You know, it is not a thing that they did not get into the college football playoff. It is not that. So I think that's one thing they need to stop saying on television, that it is a joke. It's not a joke. All right. So then now we have Michigan losing to Indiana 20-15. This would have been one of Indiana's closest games, I think. So it was a hard-fought victory for Indiana. Colorado beat Texas Tech 41-27. Tulane beat Temple 52-6. Destroyed them. South Carolina beat Vanderbilt 28-7. Tennessee beat Mississippi State 33-14. Oregon took down Maryland 39-18. Alabama destroyed LSU in the nighttime 42-13. Brian Kelly just doesn't seem to be able to get it done in LSU like he couldn't in Notre Dame. Speaking of Notre Dame, they beat Florida State 52-3. These are the reasons why Notre Dame one of the reasons why they get back into this thing, because they've just been blowing teams out. Almost each every week they've put it on a team. So I think that's why they have jumped. That's one of the reasons why they have been able to jump back into this thing, combined with the fact that the loss was very, very early in the season. Missouri beat Oklahoma 30-23. Boise State beat Nevada 28-21. Genty, the running back, he had over 200 yards and 3 touchdowns in that game. This guy is the Heisman Trophy winner. I mean, let's face it. This is the bias. You know, Travis Hunter is at Colorado, a Power 4 conference. Genty's in Boise State, one of the non-Power 4 conferences. So that's just what it is. Penn State beat Washington 35-6. BYU with an unbelievable. It's an unbelievable game. They went into the last second, kick a field goal, beat Utah 22-21, and Utah State losing to Washington State 28-49. Now on to this week's action. We have Utah at Colorado. This is going to be a big game. See if Colorado can keep the end of the deal, keep on winning, try to beat a very game Utah team. Clemson's at Pittsburgh. Texas is at Arkansas. Ohio State's at Northwestern. These last two games, Texas and Ohio State, are games they should win, but you never know what this season was happening. Tulane is at Navy. Alabama is taking on the dreaded team of Mercer. Again, if I was czar of college football, Alabama wouldn't be able to play these teams. You know, they wouldn't be able to play these teams. I don't care about your homecoming. You wouldn't be able to play these teams. Jesus Christ. LSU is at Florida. Boston College is at SMU, which, by the way, I didn't mention, but SMU, now being in the ACC, they have a chance as well to get to the college football playoff. Some teams lose, they keep winning. They make it, and I don't know. I can't remember if I think it would be them versus Miami. You can upset Miami. SMU gets an automatic bid into the college football playoffs, and maybe Miami's knocked out. Virginia is at Notre Dame. This is again Notre Dame. Notre Dame should just, you know, Virginia is very good. It is a good team, but this is again team Notre Dame. We should beat them by about 17, 20 points. Stanford hosts Louisville. Penn State is at Purdue. Missouri is at South Carolina. That's going to be a very good game between two ranked teams. Arizona State is at Kansas State. This new Big 12 is still getting harder. All these conferences are getting used to. Arizona State at Kansas State, really? Boise State's at San Jose State. Again, as Genty can see what he can do, and can Boise State keep their hopes alive of getting into the college football playoff? Oregon is going to be at Wisconsin. Tennessee and Georgia seem to be like the big game. That's the one. ABC game. It's the SEC on ABC. 6:30 p.m. Can Georgia beat Tennessee? Give them another loss, or would Tennessee probably knock out Georgia from ever getting into the college football playoff by giving them a third loss? New Mexico State is at Texas A&M. At least it's not Mercer. Washington State's at New Mexico, and BYU hosts Kansas. So that's some of the games of the top 25 going on this coming weekend in college football. And now, as we always do for the main event, let's talk about what happened last week in the world of the National Football League and what's going to happen this week. So last Thursday's Thursday night football game between the Bengals and Ravens was extremely great. A good showcase for both teams, and also showcased the hypocrisy of the NFL fan. The week prior, fans got upset that Todd Bowles in Tampa Bay and Gerard Mayo in New England didn't go for two to try and win the game against the Chiefs and Titans respectively. And then 4 days later, when the Bengals and Ravens go at it, and Zach Taylor goes for two, and it doesn't happen, they then say, "Well, why did you go for two?" Make up your minds, fans. What do you want? Do you want a coach that's going to go for two to try and win a game? Or do you want a coach who's going to play it safe and play for overtime? Let us know now, so that, you know, the other people who don't really give a damn, you know, can be okay and not have to listen to all of the bull crap. You know, I had no problem with Todd Bowles and Gerard Mayo not going for two, playing for overtime. I also didn't have a problem with Zach Taylor doing that as well. For me, as a coach, I would never go for two. I would always play for the. I would always play for the tie, as is something that I would just always do. Well, I shouldn't say that, because it would be based on the situation, right? It would be based on the situation. If it was a situation like this, and maybe it was like, so let's just say maybe it was like 1:55 on the clock. They had less than 40 seconds, I believe, left in the game. But it was like just under 2 minutes. We had just come off the 2-minute warning, scored the touchdown. You know, and I had all three of my timeouts left. I would think about in that 2-minute during that 2-minute warning. I would consider on going for two or not. Because if we go for two and we don't get it, we have all three timeouts. We could try to stop it. I might consider, and every situation would have to go. It would be on the team who we were facing. It would be who's the quarterback, yada yada yada. Are we, how are we playing? Things like that. I think it would all based on the situation. But for the most of the time, I would always kick the extra points. Now, I will also say this. I'm someone that truly believes that if it's 4th and 1 or less, I would go for it every time. Because if we can't get 1 yard, we don't deserve to win. And that would be even backed up in my own territory. If we were at the 10 yard line, needed to get to the 11 yard line, and it's 4 for 1, I'm not going to punt it. I'm going to go for it. Because if we can't get 1 yard, we don't deserve to win the game. So there's enough of this tush push stuff happening. And we should get it. So to Sunday's action in Germany, the Panthers went to overtime and beat the Giants 20-17. Unfortunately, the running back of the Giants fumbled the ball. The Panthers kicked it up and kicked the field goal. That guy's got to be, just kicking himself, and it's unfortunate that happened to him. Someone else who's kicking himself is Shane Waldron, who got fired as the Bears' offensive coordinator because his team mustered up 3 points against a New England Patriots defense that was one of the worst defenses in the league. Patriots scored 19-3. They were to fire Thomas Brown, now the new offensive coordinator. A lot of calls for Matt Eberflus's job. I don't know. I can understand why some people may want him gone because of his record and the things that have happened, but I don't know. The narrative around the Chicago Bears ruining quarterbacks is ridiculous and just not true. And one of the things they talk about is the fact that, they bring in a rookie quarterback with the head coach, and then they fire the head coach after the quarterback's rookie season, bring in another coach, and then they get rid of the quarterback, and it's redone like that. And it's done the last several times. It was done with, this actually goes back to like Rex Grossman. It was done with Rex Grossman. He was drafted under Dick Duran. They fired Dick Duran. Lovie Smith came back in. Yada yada yada. I don't even know what that happens is. And then when we get to the John Fox era, they drafted Mr. Trubisky. They fired John Fox after the rookie season. Brought in Matt Nagy, and then they get rid of him. They get rid of Trubisky. They did Justin Fields. They got rid of Matt Nagy, brought in a thing, and now they're getting rid of Justin Fields, rid of Caleb Williams, and now they may do the same thing again and get rid of Matt Eberflus and bring in somebody else. And they talk, and what people will say is that the Bears ruin quarterbacks. This is what I'm going to say. Rex Grossman, Mitchell Trubisky, and yes, even Justin Fields, they were not good enough at quarterback. It wasn't like they were somehow this great talent, that was good and then fell off the thing. Like, to me, Mac Jones was ruined. Mac Jones' rookie season, he looked like a quarterback that could continue on, and keep developing into something special. Into something special. Something that, of course, with Bill Belichick, that could be, they could do something with. However, once Josh McDaniels leaves and you give him a former defensive coordinator and a former special teams coordinator as their offensive coordinators for Mac Jones, yes, that ruins a quarterback. That ruins a quarterback. Mitchell Trubisky, Justin Fields, Rex Grossman did not show the ability to play the quarterback position effectively and consistently enough to say that them, doing what they have done, firing the incumbent coach and then hiring a new coach, ruined those guys. They were just not good enough. Now, I would say with Caleb Williams, he's shown glimpses of what he can be. And he's shown that he was better than all 3 of those guys right now. But yes, this maybe could ruin Caleb Williams if they continue on. So, just had to get that off my chest as a Bears fan. Let's continue on. The 49ers, Chris McCaffrey was back. They beat the Buccaneers 23-20. The Chiefs blocked a last-second field goal to get the victory over the Broncos to stay undefeated, 16-14. The Bills beat the Colts 30-20. It was just announced just about an hour or so ago. Anthony Richardson is getting back into the starting lineup for the Indianapolis Colts after a couple games. I think hopefully next time he will know better to tap out. Steelers had a tremendous game against Washington, and they beat them. They caused the rookie offensive lineman for the Commanders to jump into the neutral zone, giving them a first down, giving them the ability to run out the clock as well. Steelers won 28-27. Sam Darnold starting to look like the Sam Darnold of old. He had 3 interceptions, all within the red zone territory. But they still somehow was able to beat the Jaguars 12-7. Not a good look for Jacksonville. The Falcons surprisingly lost to the Saints 17-20. The guys had a little juice to play for the new head coach down in New Orleans. But as we know, that first game you always get new juice after you with a new coach, but then it goes back to normal. So I would assume the Saints will be losing this week. If they're playing, we'll find out soon. Chargers beat the Titans 27-17. The Jets, just after coming off that huge victory over Houston on Thursday Night Football, go to Arizona and lay an egg. The Cardinals just destroyed them 31-6. This is not a good place for the Jets. Aaron Rodgers is worried more about misinformation than he is worried about how he's gonna, start playing well. So, yeah, that's what he's want. The Eagles went to Dallas and put it on the Cowboys. Dak Prescott will have surgery on that hamstring. He will not play the rest of the year. Cooper Rush didn't play very well. Neither did Trey Lance. So we'll see the Cowboys. You know what? And I now agree with a lot of people that was talking about this, because they had 3 guys on their thing, right? They had who was on their last year of the deal: CeeDee Lamb, Dak Prescott, Michael Parsons. They should have just rolled it out and see. And if the Cowboys did something great, things like that, then pay them at the end of the year. Play all 3. But this would have been a good chance for them now. Of course, they didn't know this was going to happen. But this would be a good chance for now to them to roll over. But who knows if they can, because you're paying CeeDee Lamb and Dak Prescott all of this money, and you're probably going to give Michael Parsons a whole bunch of money as well. And is that going to really help your team? So, who knows with the Cowboys. Sunday Night Football, the Lions beat the Texans 26-23. Jared Goff threw 5 interceptions. He had only thrown, up to that game, he had only thrown 4 in the season. And he had 5 in one game. But so he somehow was still able to lead their team back and score in 26-20. That's amazing. Truly amazing. The Lions, these are not your grandfather's Lions. These are a different breed of Lions. Definitely. And Monday Night Football, the Dolphins beat the Rams 23-15. As we look ahead to this week, we got another what should be very good Thursday Night Football game tomorrow night between the Commanders and the Eagles. They're jockeying for position for the number 1 team in the NFC East. We head to Sunday. We got the Raiders are at the Dolphins. The Browns are at the Saints. The Colts are at the Jets. We got the Vikings are at the Titans. We need, again, Sam Darnold to see if he can get back on track, or if he's going to maybe look back still at being Sam Darnold. There were rumors, whispers that the Vikings were maybe looking to trade for Matthew Stafford before the trading deadline. Maybe they saw something like bad things happening. Sam Darnold going back to his bad ways, maybe. We'll wait and see. So, the Packers at my Bears. Everybody, I think, believes the Packers are going to come in and smoke them. And I would not hesitate to disagree with that. Jaguars are at the Lions. Lions, they should smoke the Jaguars. The Rams are at the Patriots. The Ravens at the Steelers. That's going to be a very good game. Go on Steelers. Just beat the Ravens down. Seahawks at 49ers. The Falcons at the Broncos. Both teams looking to get back on track after losses, into their division rivals. The Chiefs at the Bills. This is the main event. Obviously, Josh Allen versus Patrick Mahomes. Josh Allen can beat Patrick Mahomes in the regular season, but can't do it in well, he can do it. It just hasn't happened. So this is gonna be a very good game. Cannot wait to watch this one. Bengals at the Chargers on Sunday Night Football, and on Monday Night Football, oh boy, the Texans are at the Cowboys. So sorry, ESPN, at those damn Cowboys, and they're trash. And so, but there you have it. That's a look ahead at Week 11, the National Football League. Let's go ahead and let's close this thing out. Alright, guys, that's going to be it for this episode of the Game According to Me. We'll be back next Wednesday to once again look back at what happened this weekend in college football and the NFL, and look ahead to what's going to happen next weekend in college and the NFL. Please, if you are watching or / listening to this on YouTube, post a comment down below. Tell me what you guys did. Let me know how you guys felt about what went down in the podcast, on the podcast, and happened in action in the NBA, NFL, college football, whatever. Make sure you like the video, you share the video, you subscribe to the channel. Also, make sure that you copy the share link. That's helpful too. If you're a part of this new program, that you can give the whatever they call it thing, you can give those things. Make sure to give those things to this video as well. For those of you guys listening on wherever you listen to your podcast, thank you so much for listening. If you like what you've heard and you want to support this creator, there are many ways to do it. You can go to patreon.com/AJTRIP. Become a patron. Once I hit a certain amount of patrons, you will be able to determine what you hear on my other podcast, the AJTRIP Show, starting in January. What videos you see me do on my YouTube channel, youtube.com/@AJTRIP20. We just talked about that. And what video games I play on my Twitch channel, twitch.tv/AJTRIP20. Again, I have to have the video games. There are also ways where you can do it on the Spotify platform. If you go to the Spotify plays, link is in the description box down below. They have 3 tiers there. It's a 99-cent tier, a $4.99 tier, and a $9.99 tier. Anyway, it happened. But if you are financially strapped, as many people are nowadays, that's totally fine as well. So another way you can support me is to share this podcast. Share it all over your social media. Share it with your friends and family, things like that. You can rate it as well. Give it the highest rating you can. That also helps in putting this podcast into the many places that I would like for it to be. But no matter what you do, I just want to say thank you for even listening to this podcast. That is as much thing. It means as much as it would any type of financial, support. The fact that you just listen to this is even better. Once again, thank you guys so much for listening. This is your boy AJTRIP signing off. As always, be good to each other, y'all. Be careful out there. And I am out.